Good morning. Yay. It is a wonderful day for clean water. I'm St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter, and guess what? Every day is a wonderful day for clean water. We're excited. We're here at the place that our incredible staff at the St. Paul Regional Water Services comes together and cleans and makes sure that we send pristine, beautiful, incredible water here from this space. I always tell folks our water is so clean in St. Paul. These guys get awards for how many awards we've gotten. But one of the things that we know is we send out this pristine, clean water. And for thousands of households across our city, once it gets right to the end point, once it gets right there to the house, it picks up lead in some of our lead service lines that connect our homes to our water mains. That's not acceptable for us. We've all gotten the memo. Lead is not good. Lead is not good for anybody to drink in their water. Lead is not good for our children to drink in their water. Lead is not good for our families. And it's not fair for families across St. Paul, families across Minnesota to experience this invisible hazard. We focused in St. Paul on saying we're going to get rid of those lead service lines. We've started a long journey with American Rescue Plan dollars, and we started that sort of stepping out on faith, saying we're not sure of the whole kind of staircase, but we're going to take the first step. Let me tell you how pleased and appreciative we are to welcome back to this space some folks who have been here a couple times over the last several months, who have decided that we're going to be a state that's focused on infrastructure, and that we're not just going to do this in St. Paul, but statewide, we're going to make sure that every child and every family has clean drinking water. So I'm excited to welcome you to this space. Definitely want to give a shout out to our staff here, Director Shea, and our staff here at the St. Paul Regional Water Services. Definitely want to give a shout out to Councilmember Chris Tolbert, who's been an integral part of that work here in St. Paul. Want to say a big, huge thank you to all the members of labor and all the workers who have helped to get us to this place. And a warm welcome and thank you to our Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan and our Governor Tim Walz, both of whom you'll hear from today.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mayor Carter, and thanks to the folks here at St. Paul Regional Water. We have been out here a lot. We're learning a lot from these folks. The Mayor's absolutely right. The ability to have clean water is something a lot of folks should be able to take for granted, but he's right. Because of lead pipes, and Minnesota's a state that's got a lot of them, we can't. We know the studies are very clear on the dangers to health. I was also mentioning the 2019 study that showed that we get about $3 to $4 return in terms of not reducing health, the cognitive declines that we see with lead that end up costing us over a lifetime. The return on the money that we're going to make here will come back to us 4 times, not to mention the humanity of improving lives. All those folks that got mentioned, and I'll have to tell you, when we started exploring this, seeing what we can do, leveraging the federal money, and I want to give a huge thank you to our federal partners who voted for this infrastructure. This is the golden age of infrastructure, from lead pipes to roads, bridges, transit, broadband. We're going to see investments over the next decade or so that we've not seen for a generation. And those are all good-paying union jobs in Minnesota. These are skilled crafts. This is what builds our middle class. This is where we saw the big growth coming after World War II with the interstate highway system and things like that. That's where we saw defined benefit pension plans. That's where we saw people getting health care. That's where we saw life expectancies go up and quality of life goes up. Those are all things that matter. So this investment is, yes, it's about health. Yes, it's about helping homeowners. And when people know can be expensive to try and do your home on your own with these in the ground, this is an ability for all of us to work together to reduce those costs for families, to eliminate them. But watching how St. Paul did this, one of the things is that they said, why has this taken so long, and why are there still so many in the ground? And the answer that I saw in a national study, and it's what folks here told me, was it's record keeping. It's about understanding and doing the study necessary to know where these things are at and then get out there to do them. And when we were watching them do one here a few months ago when we were pushing to get this bill done, it was really interesting to watch a neighbor come out of her house and said, I am so happy. I couldn't afford to do this, but I'm so happy I'm next on the list. And this professional crew is going to come in, they're going to get them replaced, and they're going to have good, safe drinking water in their homes. So I have to tell you that when you see a legislative session and there's so many things going, the expertise of the individual legislators who understand the issues to the granular level, make the case, go out and make the case to their colleagues is really something impressive to see. And Representative Jordan has done that. Listening to her give us a PhD level talk on lead pipes was really great. To understand the impact of that, that's what people expect out of their legislators. You send someone there who can spend the time learning the issue, someone who brings a wealth of expertise to it, and then they do the thing that is art and science. They build the coalition in a bipartisan manner to say this is good for Minnesota. It's a good use of our tax dollars. It's in the long run not only going to save us money, it's going to make us money in reducing the impacts of lead pipes. Just a really great thing. And I think the good news is on this, we've got the opportunity with this money and a continued push to go forward is to maybe be one of the first states to totally eliminate lead from our systems. That would be a real goal. And again, it all comes back to that bigger theme. That makes Minnesota the best place to raise a child and to have a family. With that, I'm going to turn it to our Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan.
Thank you. We're so happy to be back here celebrating the progress. I'm glad you took a step out on faith. You kept the faith. That's right. Right? And we got it done. So cities like St. Paul and the lead pipe removal sites we visited a few weeks ago are ensuring that every Minnesotan has access to safe, clean drinking water because, frankly, it's what everyone who lives in the state deserves. Because we can live in a state without lead poisoning and contaminated water. And that's possible thanks to this bill from Senator McEwen and Representative Jordan. But change requires time and resources and funding. Safe, clean drinking water starts with investing, creating, and executing programs to address an issue that can be expensive and complicated. And this $240 million for lead pipe removal will do exactly that. We know that lead is harmful. Unfortunately, we also know that pregnant people, children, and infants are at a much higher risk when it comes to the health effects of lead exposure, and that's unacceptable. Our ultimate goal is to make this state the best state for kids and families, but we can't reach this goal until we prevent harm to mothers and children through outdated and unsafe infrastructure. While the work might be a little messy for a couple of days, we want the over 100,000 impacted water lines to be addressed so that thousands of homes across the state without access to safe water will be able to live in a new, safer reality where they can turn on the faucet with comfort and with confidence. So thank you to everyone who advocated and fought for this bill. You are making a big, lasting impact in the state of Minnesota, and we are so grateful. And one of the people we are really grateful for is our enthusiastic, nerdy, and I use that as a fellow nerd, Representative Sydney Jordan.
Well, thank you all for being here. And today is a really good day because we are finally going to pass House File 24, the bill which will remove lead service lines across the state of Minnesota. I am so proud to be the chief author of this bill. And my name is Sydney Jordan. I represent the people of Northeast Minneapolis and Southeast Como in the Minnesota House of Representatives. And that same Minnesota House of Representatives unanimously passed this bill to replace lead service lines. Every single member of the Minnesota House of Representatives and almost every single member of the Minnesota Senate agrees that no amount of exposure to lead is safe. Not one bit. And we know that when a person swallows or breathes in lead particles, that your body stores that and it stays there in your bones, in your blood, in your tissues, and that causes lasting damage. And the only way to do that is to remove the exposure to lead. And we are going to do that by replacing our lead service lines, which are one of the most common ways that Minnesotans are exposed to lead in their drinking water. And this is something that is a statewide issue. We have lead service lines in my home in Northeast Minneapolis. We have them here in St. Paul. We have them in Greater Minnesota, and we have them in suburban communities. And we know that we need to replace the entirety of the line to make sure that Minnesotans are safe and have safe drinking water. And we're going to do that with the passage of this bill. This is also a bill that will unlock millions of dollars in federal infrastructure spending through the IIJA, and it makes sense. We can do this now, and we're going to do this over the next 10 years. We passed the first part of this and set up the program this year, but we will be back to make sure that we replace every single lead service line in the bill, in the state. And so I want to thank every single person that helped work on this bill, make it better, work on the mapping, figure this out, whether you're an environmental activist, whether you're someone who works in local government, or whether you're someone who wants to make sure Minnesotans have good union jobs and are working to make sure we have safe infrastructure. You made this bill happen, and you stood there and you said that no amount of exposure to lead is safe, and we're going to do something about that and replace every single lead service line in the state. So with that, I want to turn it over to John Thorson from La Unit to talk a little bit more about those great jobs that people are going to have replacing these lines.
Well, thank you. My name is John Thorson. I'm Legislative Director for La Unit, Minnesota, North Dakota. We're Minnesota's infrastructure union, representing more than 14,000 skilled construction laborers who build and maintain our roads, highways, bridges, and the basic utilities that allow communities to thrive. We're proud to stand here today with the governor, lieutenant governor, the mayor, Representative Jordan, the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, Conservation Minnesota, the Operating Engineers Local 49, Associated General Contractors, and St. Paul Regional Water Services in having brought a transformational investment to our state's future that puts us on a path to remove and replace what the Minnesota Department of Health estimates to be over 100,000 lead service lines throughout our entire state. This bill calls for eliminating all lead service lines by 2033, provides the funding so cities can identify, map, and replace lead pipes both in the public right-of-way and the 70% of lines on private property. Who's most at risk? Minnesotans living in older houses, especially those constructed 1945 or before, and that is the most likely to have, those homes are most likely to have a lead service line between the city main and their home. As Representative Jordan says, there is no safe level of exposure to lead, with infants and children up to age 6 having the highest risks of lead exposure because their bodies are rapidly developing and the lead stays within their body. La Una members are skilled in lead service line replacement and have worked with cities all throughout the nation to accelerate the identification, the removal of lead pipes in urban, rural, and suburban communities. It's estimated here in Minnesota that removal and replacement of lead service lines will create and maintain around 2,400 jobs annually over the next 10 years. And we're very excited about the career and economic inclusion opportunities this brings to Minnesota's construction industry through registered union apprenticeship programs that increase the participation of women, people of color, veterans, and others not yet fully participating in our economy. By ensuring that lead pipes are replaced and clean drinking water is delivered to families and children across Minnesota, this investment will increase the health, social, and economic vitality of our entire state. And we believe that states and regions that get water right are going to win the next century and create a lot of jobs along the way, Governor. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Bradley Peterson. I'm the Executive Director of the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, and I couldn't agree more with Mayor Carter when he says it's a great day for clean water. I want to thank the Governor and Lieutenant Governor and Representative Jordan and Senator McEwen for their leadership on this bill. This has been an over 2-year journey as we have put this together, run it through committees, found the funding, and the partnership that we put together with labor, local governments, environmental organizations, and our partners in state government and the legislature has been tremendous. As has been mentioned, but I want to lift up, is the idea that this is an important statewide bill. We're here at the St. Paul Regional Water Services, but we could be standing in Pipestone, International Falls, Red Wing, Duluth, Royalton, you name it. These are all communities who have lifted their hands and said, we have a problem with lead pipes and we are looking for solutions. And so this bill is for all of them and all of our partners here in the Metro as well. And the thing that I like about this bill is that it helps cities at every stage of their journey as they try to figure out what is in the ground, do that mapping, do that planning, all the way through removing it and replacing it. It is an end-to-end vision for getting this done in the next 10 years. And finally, I think this is a good win for good public policy. It is proof that when you rally around a challenge as critical as this, and put good minds and willing hearts to it, that our politics can accomplish good things. And as Representative Jordan mentioned, you had a unanimous vote in the House and a near unanimous vote in the Senate. And my hope is that we can take that kind of spirit and problem solving and apply it here for over the next couple of days and in the coming years. And so I want to note that this is a first step. There's a lot of work to be done, but man, we're off to a good start. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Paul Austin. I'm the Executive Director of Conservation Minnesota. It's a statewide advocacy group with a network of over 100,000 people throughout the state. In that job over the past couple decades, I get a chance to talk to a lot of people about clean water, and it's led me to the unmistakable conclusion that clean water is a deeply held value that we have in our state, that all of our water should be clean. Together, we believe that's true of our lakes, we believe it's true of our rivers, and that commitment to clean water really starts with safe drinking water, making sure that the health of our children and the futures of our families are as bright as they can be. And that's what today is all about to me, and it's really exciting. This did not happen overnight. We didn't get here overnight. Governor mentioned in 2019 the Department of Health put out a study. Since that time, countless partner groups and legislators and leaders have been working together to try to bring this across the finish line. And I think that the legislature and the governor and the lieutenant governor really deserve our thanks. They deserve the thanks of current Minnesotans, and they deserve the thanks of future generations of Minnesotans who will be positively impacted by this legislation. So if we follow through on the full extent of this legislation, we'll eliminate in 10 years all the lead service lines in the state, and that will definitely make us a national leader. I look forward to seeing that happen and taking a big step in making Minnesota the best place in the country to raise a family. So thank you very much for all your work, and thanks for being here.
It's the attention to detail of copper typing in front of us, too. It's not purple ink, but it's still good. All right. It's done, and Minnesotans will be healthier for it.